Hello Tubers, Mezcal here. Christmas has come early. There it is.
Whoa, it's not! It isn't on my bag! I found it!
You found...
Yeah!
Hey? You found the cicada.
Yeah!
Oh my goodness.
Are you happy now?
I'm super happy. We're unboxing this and you've just found the cicada.
He was on my bag and he made that sound.
The cicada's been found. This thing here, I found it on the ground outside last night, and I always find these being eaten by ants and they're all damaged. And so I brought it inside and it got out of its shell on the curtain there, and it didn't puff its wing up properly, so it's got a bit of a damaged wing there. But we couldn't find it this morning, and Ebby's just discovered it, and she's just about jumping out of her skin because it made a sound, and it's got a real deep note. Because look at the size of the abdomen on it. Focus. Look at the size of it. It's quite a different looking cicada. You gonna make your noise? Oh.
You dropped him. Dad, he's a little guy. Dad didn't know he's a little guy. Mom, look, he's crawling on his hand. Whoa! You saw that? He flagged off.
Hmm.
It looks like little leaf wings.
Oh, it's a low note, isn't it?
Is he kind of funny?
That's what we used to do as kids. We'd shake them. Probably not the best thing to do.
Yeah, look, he crawls on you.
Oh, I feel bad that its wing didn't form properly. I wonder why that happens. Good luck, mate. So you don't get those in the non-gold version. A lot of people have said they were a bit surprised to see it not in plastic bags, but I suppose that's alright since the box was sealed. What have we got here? What is it? How to confirm that wireless controllers are connected to the console. Game list and the walkthrough. Slot for optional SD card. If you're interested in testing that, I've preloaded the firmware upgrade from a website which I'll link in the description. Okay, there it is. HDMI port. That's a USB power. Okay. Right, that probably makes a lot of sense. It's probably some sort of ARM processor, or it could even be a Raspberry Pi, couldn't it? Chinese copy of a Raspberry Pi. Okay, there's the controllers, and comparing to the old controllers, there's a legit one on the left. I guess feel is something I should explore. Okay. Looks like a much shorter stroke on the original Atari. And that is sloppy as you would not expect that sort of slop out of a proper Atari stick. It is much more firm. I would probably break this if I pressed as hard as this one lets you press. We got USB power. How many milliamps is that? 1 amp. Plug it in. Suppose we'll need batteries. 5 volts plugged in there. I'll just whip out the old school Atari pack over here. Plug in the new one. Power's on alright. Get out the HDMI cable. Is it any good? Isn't too bad. And I'll just plug that into the receiver and come back to you. To check the quality of something is have a good look at its spring terminals. How easy it is to load batteries in. Some other reviewer commented that there's no screw on there, and yeah, I think that's a good move. Recently everything has come with a spring, a screw right there on a battery door, and that's just ridiculous. This is what happens when you plug a shitty HDMI cable into a system where you've got this HDCP equipment. It's a copyright protection thing, and the lead that came with the Telstra TV box kept throwing up errors like that. It's currently plugged in through the receiver down there, and that, now that there's another cord added to the system, like I haven't touched that's still plugged into the receiver as it was before, but because I've gone and plugged something else in, it's throwing this error up, and sometimes a better quality lead can fix that. But at any rate, I'm not even going to use HDMI 1, that one is on anyway, so I'll flip to HDMI 2. There's the remote, oh, there it is. And it's going through the receiver, I've got the sound all the way around me. 8-bit sound on 5.1 speakers. A bit weird. Okay, I don't know if these will automatically just pair up, but no. I'll turn it on first. These are labelled P1 and P2. Oh yeah, it's working straight away. This is a game I played a lot of as a kid. I don't know what's going on here, but a lot of clicking through the speakers. Maybe I should put this thing on, put the receiver onto some sort of mono function. There is a mono function for the input. Just put it on stereo. No, still getting that popping noise. The gameplay here, I've forgotten what I'm supposed supposed to do. But it's interesting that it's got the lines down the side there that matches to what you'd expect to see. Haven't read the instructions, not sure if I should go back or just press the reset button like old school days. What has happened there? That's changed. I'm just cycling the box here. That's that. Box down. Box back up. Looks like a reset button. Now, how do we get back to the menu? I guess we go select or something. Okay, so I just got beaten by the computer. I remember how to play it now. It's got a terrible strobing sort of thing between turns. Hit start there. Oh, okay, that's taken us back. There's a menu button on here. Scan line filter. What's this do? Turn it off. Quick game. No, I don't want to play that. Yeah, how do I go further back? Back menu. So the side here we've got Activision games, paddle games. There's no paddles that come with it, and for it to be the gold box, that's a bit of a rort. I have heard that the paddles aren't compatible. The old school paddles don't work. So, yeah. Might as well try that. I've got the paddles here. Paddles always plugged in slot 1. Let's go back to paddle games. We've got super breakout. We've got the normal breakout. Will do. So these are original 2600 paddles. Wireless joysticks will not work properly when paddles are plugged in. Please remove the paddles when not playing a paddle game. Nothing there. Hey, the paddle works. So whatever someone else tried, that's not what I'm seeing. Okay. The fire button isn't actuating and bringing down the bullet, so whatever that thing is, that's not very functional, is it? I'll try it in the other slot. No, okay, so the paddle is a fail on breakout because it can't pull down the ball. We'll try some buttons on the screen, on the actual console itself. Without really changing the game. That's the difficulty button. That one there. There's your toggle between the size, which is normal difficulty changes on a game like Space Invaders. The size of your home man will change. What am I going to do here? Start. No, can't get the ball to drop. Okay, so breakout's a fail. Oh! that's weird. Maybe you start it with that one and then expect to operate that. Okay, I've got it working by pressing that. It's really sensitive, like the distance is tiny, minute. And playing Super Breakout on the 2600 is not as hard as that to hit the little flip back. I've got my eye in now, but what was that? This might be different to Super Breakout because this is just Breakout. Okay, that's tested. So just noticed is one is just a master controller with all these functions, and that'll obviously be player one. But yeah, that paddle thing was a little bit dysfunctional. Quick game. Let's put the SD card in and upgrade the firmware. Then I can load ROMs. So here's one I prepared earlier. Turn it off. Pop it in. Turn it on. And it hasn't worked. Try that again. This time I've just double checked that it's on there. I don't know what happened to the other card. I think it got mixed up. There's a file on there called Atari Update or something like that. There you go. Firmware upgrade. Apparently there'll be a bar that comes up which doesn't get quite to the end. It'll go like this for a while and it'll get to about there and then it'll finish and say it didn't work, but it does still work. So from there you put a folder called Game. You must put the folder called Game on the SD card to load your ROMs into. You can't just throw them on the SD card. Okay, and it's going to ask again because it's just booted, but we've already done it. So if you take the SD card back out and remove the file that's on there and just have an SD card with a folder called Game full of ROMs, you won't get this prompt every time you boot up. There's ROMs on my phone. My phone is doing the recording right now, so I'm going to take this little thing out of its adapter, pop it into the phone, and then drag and drop my short list of games that I got from a little grey console that was sold at Jaycar, and they put it to market before it had the SD card removed, and we had to pull them off the shelves and remove the SD card, and I kept a copy of those cards so that I had those ROMs, because there was copyright stuff on there like Galaxian, Galaga, 1942, you know, ROMs like that Jaycar didn't want to get in trouble for selling. Okay, we're back. I don't know why it took so long for the camera, the phone and the camera to work out that the SD card was back in, but I couldn't record for a little bit there. Okay, so I've deleted the update image from that and I've loaded a bunch of ROMs on there. There's all sorts of things I saw in the load, from Pac-Man to Galaxian, Galaga, yeah, all sorts of cool stuff. That's my PIR alarm being triggered by a bird. Alright, so let's load that back into its little slot there. Shouldn't come up and say update again. And there's the SD card function down the bottom there. Hang on. Over there. Bit clunky. This interface. I've made a thing called game and it's not showing the SD card. Maybe I need to leave that image thing on there. But I heard that you didn't need it. Well, that's annoying. Just plugging it in. The SD card's still greyed out over here. I've just moved that little switch on the card that says from lock to be able to use it. I don't know if that'll make a difference. I have had some crappy card reader adapters. Okay, it's still not coming up. Well, that was a fail. It is a good old game like Frogger. Alphabetical. I've been playing this recently, so I'll be able to tell you what's different. That didn't load at all, it just went straight in. It looked a lot different to this, a lot more basic. And without I would say the gameplay is a bit quicker on the 2600. A bit more challenging too. Oh, there's got the frog. And I've died going out of the screen, which doesn't happen on the original 2600 version. Which makes the gameplay tricky to get up over this way when logs are moving against you, you know what I mean? Oh, I jumped too early. Okay, so I'll give you a comparison. I'll show you Frogger as it is originally. So I've got to go back to analog TV there. And then plug in the old girl. So I've had a bit of a play and I've come back to it, to showing you stuff that I've discovered. Total fail here with the paddles. What do you got here? Chippy? Thanks, darling. Total fail. Like, it's disconnected. The button to start things going is on this thing, and then you're using a paddle over here. excuse me eating. And if you go full deflection with the paddle, you get this warning. So if you're smashing it too hard, this comes up mid-game. I've set up another card. This one was formatted a bit differently. Apparently that can have an issue. SD card's still greyed out. So this border thing here is a function you can put in. It's not on every game, it just comes up all the time behind as the background. We call it the bezel. It's just a function in the settings. I just thought that one was the most space. Space Invader up the corner there. You've got a ghost. You've got the controller. I felt like that was retro. I've had trouble with the SD card, I can't get it to work. I'm waiting on an answer from, what's his name of his channel? Tim's Tiny Arcade. Check him out, I'll put a link in the description. Not very good at this. Original asteroids. Ah, where'd you go? I don't know. Invisible. Pull backwards, I go invisible. Jump. Ah. I was playing this the other day. I didn't see a UFO come in on the emulator. Alright, what else can I pull up? I saw Missile Command on there, so I'll play that. Whoops. Now it's upgrading it again. So this is the first time that I've seen SD card not grayed out, and I've found some ROMs that were compatible. The ROMs I was using had a .NES file naming nomenclature, and this is .bin. They're all .bin. I got them off the Atari Age website. Yeah, I'm going to have a look there and see what's in there now. Now, of course, the curious part of me wants to see inside of it. I've taken the screws out already. Hopefully there's no hidden screw under there. Feels like there might be one. There's a bit of a divot. Yeah, it feels like there's a hidden screw. Ever seen that t-shirt, I void warranties? I want one. Alright, let's have a look. Oh wow. Monkey King. Looks like there's a reset button on the corner here. And what else do we have? There's a Bluetooth antenna. Communicates with the handpieces, obviously. Not much else to see. What's that chip say? Well, not much to see there. I figured as much. It'd be all box and not much inside, because the electronics don't need to be very big these days. Curiosity has the better of me, and I am going to have a look at the other side of the board. You know, I just can't help myself when it comes to wanting to know what's inside. Hang on, little one wants to get down from a high chair. Wow.
Huh?
Not much on the other side. Zoom in and have a bit of a pan around. What we got? Looks like a row of resistors. No, caps maybe. Oh, what's this say? Yeah, 3650. Yeah, not much to see there. Certainly this is the core of it. A little sort of RF shield fence around it. Power supply end there. Makes you wonder what else it's capable of. Thanks for the screwdriver. I'll put it back together now before Mummy sees it. Okay. I did just have some issues with the SD card being greyed out after opening the box and looking inside. I didn't move anything, I didn't wiggle the board at all, so I don't know what happened there. A couple of reboots and it's come good again. I'll just power cycle it again and see if it's still doing it. But overall, for what it is, pretty impressive. You certainly don't need to have the boot image on the SD card to have the SD card working. So you can go ahead and delete that to save yourself saying no every time you boot it up once you've done the upgrade. Yeah, pretty cool. I've loaded a bunch of games onto the SD card. They've played fine. Talking about... Sorry, there's a high-pitched squeal that comes up on the TV here when it turns on. Talking about the paddle games, why they even included paddle games and no paddle, a bit beyond me. It really is an absolute fail. The paddles just don't work. Well, they do kind of work, but they're far too sensitive. There may be a way to make an adapter that has higher resistance, or yeah, that goes in between the paddle, because the distance moved on the paddle dial as to how fast the reaction is really way too steep. Alright, yeah, that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you've made this far. Thanks for watching right through to the end. If you're interested in, having a bit of gaming action and having that retro vibe, then it's a pretty fun investment. Actually, I wouldn't call it an investment. It's probably going to be a flash in the pan kind of thing, and you'll probably rarely play it much after Christmas. But hey, it's all about enjoying the nostalgia and yeah, getting that old school vibe back. But if you want the pure... Are you having a sneeze? If you want the pure experience of the Atari, then this thing will get you close, but it's not going to really nail it. There are some settings in here to turn off the annoying sound that starts to drill into your head after a while. You can add a background bezel, but yeah, I think for me the most exciting part of it was loading on old ROMs, playing things like Galaxian and Pac-Man and that sort of thing. Thanks for watching. I'll play a few games on the outro there so you can enjoy some of the fun I've had. This is not one I played when I was a kid, but having a bit of fun. Pretty tricky game. Gotcha. Good old Yars' Revenge. What's another one I've been playing? It's Galaxian. Oh, straight into it. I don't remember that yellow border being around it. I remember playing this on a tabletop and also on a stand-up screen. Alright, what else have we been playing? Miss Pac-Man was good. Pac-Man felt a bit clunky. Where are we? Pac-Man. Felt like the response time was a bit slow, but when I plugged in, like I was trying to steer into that corner there, and I wasn't getting it to go that way. Same again here. Yeah, I'm having trouble with the controller. But playing on Miss Pac-Man wasn't the same sort of bodgy experience. Let's pull up Miss Pac-Man. Oh, oops. Staying on the SD card here. Miss Pac-Man. I haven't had a go at Junior Pac-Man yet. Cubit wasn't one that I was playing when I was a kid. A lot of these games I don't recall. But I put them on there because they sounded cool. BMX TNT, that was a bit different. Burger Time, another one I haven't played when I was a kid. Buck Rogers was a bit tricky. Let's have a go at that. Again, not one I remember playing as a kid. Oh, where's something to shoot at? I was an avid watcher of Buck Rogers in the 23rd and a half century when I was a kid. Oh, the scanline filter, if you're interested, sort of makes it feel a bit more like, it gives you that retro vibe, because you know it looked more like that on a CRT. I'll just leave that running and show you what it looks like on a game. Hang on. The scan line thing on. I'm pressing forward there and I'm not going anywhere, so I don't know if the joystick's playing up or what the story is. Going backwards works. Looks like the up button's not working very well. Very strange. I don't have to pull apart this thing yet. Here we are inside the controller. You've got your standard little carbon conductive pads that press down on that. Just see if I can get it to work with fingers. Right. I'll just use the button. Okay, so the up is working. But every time I pushed up then I couldn't get it to work. I'll put it back together and see if it's working alright. Just have a quick look in here while we're inside. There's your Bluetooth antenna, and I guess a comms chip and control gear.